Hi, I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one is called Blood In, Blood Out. Yes, yes, this was when I worked at the Chicago Tribune. The Chicago Tribune, where they make the newspapers and stuff. Well, I started working there, and I met this dude named Claude. Okay, Claude was working there, and he looked like a drunk, actually. But he was cool. He was cool, and he was funny as
Huh?
yes. Anyway, Claude started going to the locker room like about 10 times a day, 10 or 20 times a day, and people started talking. They started talking about what is he doing in there? Why does he keep going in the locker room? He stays for an hour and stuff like that. That he not working. He not pulling his weight. They would get they were saying Claude wasn't pulling his own weight. At work. And then I guess Claude heard him or something. So he came out and cussed that dude out. Cursed him out. And they was going to go to blows if we wouldn't have grabbed him and broke everything up. So nobody really, no supervisor, nothing was around in the area. So we diffused the situation right quick. Then Claude left that area and went right to the locker room again. You know. So it was about time for me to get off anyway. So my shift was over. Was over. So I left and I went to the locker room and I heard somebody back there, making noises and stuff. So I went around the corner, and there was Claude. He had one of those aprons, like people from restaurants have, a white apron, and he was blah, blah, and it was nothing but blood inside of there, red, bright red blood, like he was bleeding and stuff like that. So I said, "Hey, you all right? You okay?" He said, "Oh, I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool." You know. And then he took some reserve, swishing around his mouth, and then swallowed it. So I said, what is wrong with you?" He said, "Oh man, I bit the back of my tongue, the side of my tongue, when I was out there arguing and stuff." So I said, "Okay." So after that, uh, everything resumed to normal, except Claude was still going in the locker room, going into the locker room, going into the locker room. So then he came out, and I don't know if somebody told on him or what, but a foreman came up and asked where he was. And when he was asking where he was coming out of the locker room. So he said, "What's where you been, man?" He said, "Man, I went to use the restroom, I went to use the restroom." He said, "You got to stay on your line, He said, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." And you can smell the alcohol coming off of his breath. So then, right then and there, all of a sudden, he started vomiting right in front of the foreman. So foreman looked at him like, "What in the world's wrong with you, man?" He said, "Not, not, 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 got an abscess or something." I don't know. He said something like that. So the foreman pulled him in his office. He said, come in my office. Come in my office." So he got in the office, and I was walking past it, and then I heard him arguing with him. So Clark was arguing with the foreman. Bad argument. So I was like, "Oh man, oh man." Needless to say, he was out of there. They walked him off. They got security to come, and they walked him out off the premises. Okay. And then I heard when he got home that it was like in the evening time. So When he left, he clocked out and everything, and he went home. And when he got home, he somehow got unalived. Okay, yeah, old Claude got unalived, and they say he had cirrhosis of the liver. Okay, and he was bleeding internally from his stomach and his liver and everything. He was bleeding internally, and he just never said nothing to us because about it because he was too drunk to say something. Yeah. So, man, it was terrible. And the foreman that fired him, he didn't have no remorse. He didn't really have too much remorse. But he did say, if I wouldn't have got rid of him, he would have died in here. Okay. But man, I felt sorry. I felt sorry for him, but it was a terrible thing, man. And so look, if y'all know somebody that's got an alcohol problem or any substance abuse, try to talk to them, try to talk them out of doing, try to talk them out of doing it, or try to talk them into getting some help, because sometimes when you get addicted to stuff, you don't be in your right mind, so you need somebody to actually talk to you and try to help you, try to help you. I wish I could have practiced what I preach and now, but I was 21 at the time, and I was still had a young mind, and I really wasn't thinking about like telling somebody to get some help or something like that, Well, I sure hate that, I hate that had to happen to him, but I don't think it was nothing nobody could do for him because his liver was bleeding and his stomach was bleeding too at the same time. So, and then he throwing up so much blood, he probably was anemic and everything, So, I don't know. Well, that's it, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share, share, share. Share my videos with everyone. Share them with your family. Share them with your friends. Share them with your loved ones. And even share them with your enemies.